All right. Hey guys, good afternoon. Welcome back to episode 4 of the KnightsCASTle. I am your host, Demetrius Montero, with my co host,
Matthew Feldman.
and we are the UCF sports writer of the UCF Roundtable on roundtable.o. We'll have a QR code up for that later so you guys can scan that. But today we're going to talk about the Hofstra home opener. We're going to drop a little bit of an analysis on that. Tomorrow is UCF's ninth annual Space Game, so we'll also preview that matchup against Houston and any other exciting UCF news. And so, let's get it started. First we're going to talk about UCF Hofstra home opener on it was Tuesday, right?
Yep.
Yeah, Tuesday night. Matthew wrote a gamer about it. We probably should link that in the description box below so you guys can read that. But Matthew, what's your analysis on the game since you covered it?
Yeah. Expected a little bit of a slow start, and that's what we got. We only scored 5 points in the first 5 minutes. Uh, it's kind of typical for a new team, finding their legs. It's early in the year, 13 new guys. It's going to take some time. I was happy with our predictions of the two players that were going to have a big impact. They both did. Riley Kugel, he led the entire game in scoring. He had 19 points. He made 5 threes. They actually all came in the first half, which was very big because he was just about the only player that had it going in the first half. I think we scored 36 in the first half, and he had 15 of them. So he kept us in the game early. And then Jordan Burks came alive in the second half. He had a career high 17. He gets up the floor really well for his size. He was running his lanes. He had one play where they kicked it ahead to him, and he made a move, and 2 steps from the 3 point line, he was on the rim. So I like his length. I think he'll be a good piece for us. Good at defense too. He was guarding Cruz Davis most of the game, which was their preseason first team all conference guy. We also did a good job defending him. He did lead their team in scoring, but he went 0 for 5 from three. We defended the three well overall. They went 5 for 22. Um, but on our end, we need to get to the free throw line and practice because we missed 14 free throws. We shot 22 of 36. 36 free throws is a lot. If we're getting 36 a game, we're going to be in a good spot to win a lot of games, but missing 14 of them. And I don't think until the end of the game we had a trip where we made both. Like every trip was make one, miss one. It's just tough to get a rhythm. And I know when I used to play, if I went 1-1, I would be a little pissed for a little bit. So I know that's tough. And then we had 16 turnovers, which that's a lot. Again, last year we averaged 12, which was a Dawkins era career high. 16 is a lot, but I expect that to drop. Themis Folks is our floor general point guard. He had 8 assists and he had 6 of those turnovers. But he said in the press conference that it's just going to take some time. He said in the first half he thought a lot of his teammates would be somewhere that he thought they'd be, and then they would cut back door. He wasn't really expecting it, so it's just going to take time to learn those tendencies. But overall, good that we got the win. A little closer than I liked, but good to be 1-0.
Yeah, I agree. It's good to be 1-0. It's a great start to the era. Like you said, 13 new transfers, so of course it's going to take a lot of time to gel and know where your teammates like the ball, especially as a playmaker. You're the one who's table setting. So you're the one who has to predict where your guy in the corner will be. Is he going to cut? Is he going to fake? You got to know where your big is going to be. Does he like having a pocket pass at the free throw line? Is he a lob threat? Other stuff like that. So definitely, it's good that UCF had the two exhibition games to iron out some of those kinks, and you were able to pull out the victory against Hofstra despite missing 14 free throws, having 16 turnovers, and to get to the free throw part. Free throws are, in the literal sense, like free. You should be able to make those, especially if you shoot at a 75% or higher clip. You should be able to at least consistently make two in a row, because it becomes scary when it's a close game and you go like, yeah, it's really the free throws.
Yeah.
The free throws could have made this a game that is a blowout. Like What was the final score of Hofstra UCF again?
By 4, 82-78.
You
So
won.
make all your free throws, we win by 18.
You won by 4. You don't even have to make all of your free throws.
Yeah,
You go 30 of 36. So that's 8 additional points. That's a 12-point win.
yeah,
Very different from a 4-point win. So definitely got to go practice free throws. You got to every time you're at the free throw line in practice, you do not leave the free throw line unless you make 2 in a row. And then eventually you start going, all right, I got to switch 2. You want to be a really good free throw shooting team
yep,
because there will be a game where you go 16 of 16 from the free throw line and you win by 2. It's like you needed every single free throw made. So definitely you got to work on the free throws. I think the turnovers will decrease over time as folks understands where his guys like the ball, especially someone like Jordan Burks who's a shooter. So definitely be able to get the ball in the shooting pocket so he could shoot quicker and make it tough for opposing defenses to key in on him when you have a great connection with the shooter, especially even with a big man too, like Stillwell and Devin Cambridge. So as the season progresses, the team will gel a bit more. There will be more chemistry, and hopefully, some of those mistakes will lessen. And yeah, UCF's next challenge is on Saturday against Vanderbilt, who wiped the floor with Lipscomb. It's a
yeah,
44-point victory. Uh, I mean, I wouldn't say Lipscomb is the cream of the crop talent, but a 44-point victory is a 44-point victory.
yeah. I also saw that they had 5 players in double digits, so they're deep.
Yeah, and that was also the same thing with us where, um, UCF had four of their starters were in double digits, barring John Bull. So it really shows how you have guys who can score at all different levels from the three-point line, mid-range, getting to the rim. So it's really good that you have guys that can contribute and have 4 that end up in double digits. Unfortunately, you have another team who has that same advantage. So Vanderbilt shot 17. They made 17 threes in the Lipscomb victory. So you got to hope law of averages come to play and they don't shoot absolutely blazing hot from 3, because if they do, it's gonna be a
It's gonna
sign
be
of
tough.
trouble for UCF, especially if you're gonna miss free throws. So definitely got to practice free throws, and hopefully the guys are quick adapters. Like it won't take long for them to adapt and adjust to each other. And you start to see a much more clean, highly executed game against Vanderbilt on Saturday.
Yeah,
But
I think
oh,
just to add to that, I think their experience will help them get whipped into shape earlier. This is the deepest I've seen us. I liked our bench. I liked how Johnny could rotate. The Devin Cambridge guy, he's a 6th year coming off our bench, comes in, just provides a lot of hustle. He hit a 3, top of the key, so he has that availability. But I feel like there in the past 2 or 3 seasons, we always had a little bit of a drop off when we went to the bench, especially at the big man position. At least this game, it looked like him, Jeremy Fumena, and Jermichael Stillwell, they're all kind of in that same boat, which honestly isn't a bad thing. Like, if you're going to get solid production from this guy when he's in, and then solid production from this guy, but maybe not anything exceptional, I think that at times can be better than what we saw last year with, Mustafa Cham. He was great. When he came out the game, we couldn't rebound. We had no size. We had no one who could come in and, fill that void. So I'm excited to see how we continue to gel.
mhm. And moving on from the Hofstra analysis and a little bit of previewing Vanderbilt. Tomorrow is UCF's ninth annual Space Game. I mean, since the inauguration of it in 2017, they're undefeated. They're 8-0, and this is their second matchup with Houston. They obviously beat them since they're undefeated, but their matchup was in 2019, and they beat them 44-29. And their undefeated streak in space games is more than just like we're pulling out victories. A lot of these victories are blowouts. A lot of these victories are over 2 possessions. If I remember correctly, their average margin of victory is close to 30 points. So it this game is where UCF has sort of an out of body experience. They had one upset victory against Oklahoma State one year, and they beat them. I believe it was 45-3.
Yep,
So
that was I remember that one.
like that's Oklahoma. That's a ranked team, a top 15 ranked team at that, and
Yep.
you're blowing them out. So this is one of those games. Miles Montgomery said it in the weekly press conference on Monday. Like this is one of those games you can't lose. You know,
Yep.
like Alabama, Auburn, Michigan, Ohio State. You know those rivalry games where it's long-standing history, and it's like, yeah, I don't give a damn if we lose every other game of the season. This is the one game we can't lose.
Mhm.
I think that's similar to Kansas and Kansas State. They have their own little showdown, and both teams could lose every game in the season. But that Kansas State matchup, each fan base is like, we can't lose that game.
Yeah.
It's Kansas. Like, do you want bragging rights over Kansas? You want bragging rights over Kansas State. So it's a bit of that same mentality and atmosphere with the space game where, yeah, this isn't a game we should lose because we're undefeated. But what are your thoughts and a little bit of a preview for Houston tomorrow?
Yeah, like you said, definitely a must win. Now that the season's over halfway finished, we got to get 2 more wins somewhere. And the week after this is Texas Tech. It's going to be tough. Uh, I think we also play BYU, who also will be a very tough win. We play Oklahoma State, which I expect to win that game. They're struggling. They have an interim head coach. So that's 5. So we got to make up one more somewhere. And I think this is the perfect opportunity to do so. Like you said, it is kind of an out of body experience. The space games that I've been to and watched, it doesn't really matter what happens the week before because they come out and they're in their, you're in your blue jerseys and the crowd's going crazy and it's at night and there's these lights and there's just all this hype around the game that usually the boys come ready to play. Like last year, we struggled all year offensively and we went into the game with our 4th string quarterback and he dropped 45 on Arizona. So, like you said, it definitely is a special occasion that allows players to elevate themselves. I'm hoping that that happens. We need to get off to a faster start. Uh, West Virginia got off to a fast start against them last week, and they were also able to force some turnovers. I found that Willie Fritz, Houston's head coach, has over a 90% win percentage when his team has more than one turnover margin. So if they win the turnover battle, we're going to lose. That basically that's what it says. So we have to be able to get to Connor Wegman, their quarterback. We have to make him uncomfortable. He threw 2 interceptions last game. He only had 2 interceptions the whole season before that. So West Virginia was able to get to him, speed him up a little bit. Um, but he's been good this year. He's got 16 touchdowns. He also has 9 as a runner, which he must have really worked on in the offseason because he played 3 years at Texas A&M and only had 2 total, and he has 9 rushing touchdowns this year. So, similar to last week, we need to key in on their quarterback, but Sawyer Robertson isn't really a dual threat, so we need to be able to contain him, keep him in the pocket, and not let him get to his number one read, which most of the time is Amari Thomas. He last week had 10 catches, 99 yards, and scored 3 times. So I expect them to go to him early. We need to be ready to shut him down, and we need to get off the field. Last week against Baylor, we forced 17 third downs, and they converted 8 of them, and then they went for it 3 times on 4th down and got 2 of them. So we're getting them in positions to punt the ball. We just need to do a better job of on that 3rd down, key in on your matchup, key in on your zone, force an incompletion, and let's get our offense in a rhythm early.
Yeah, I agree. You got to start off, hot, start off early. Baylor dropped 14 on your dome in the first quarter. Do your best Baylor impression and drop 14 on Houston in the first quarter, or just in general, just score first. Draw first blood. That's what you want to do. It gives you a little bit of confidence going into your next drive. It gives the defense confidence. Like, all right, yeah, offense scored. Let's give them the ball back so they can score again. Offense fuels defense, defense fuels offense. Vice versa. So you got to be able to score first, draw first blood, um, and really put it to Houston because they didn't just lose to West Virginia last week. They lost their ranking. That West Virginia game kicked them out of the top 25 AP poll. They were the 22nd ranked team in the country. Was West Virginia an away game or home game?
I think it was home.
Yeah,
I
so
think you were home.
either way, you go into that game ranked the 22nd team in the country. You lose that game and you're out. Missouri is now in your spot as the 22nd ranked team in the country. There is a little bit of there's a little bit more of a chip on your shoulder to come into UCF and beat the Knights because you want to show the world, the nation, that West Virginia's game was just a bad game. That's all it was. Houston is still a top 25 ranked team. That's what you want to prove. Uh, so it's imperative for UCF to score early, just in general, string together scoring drives. The one thing I don't want to see in the game is going for it on fourth down. Unless the situation absolutely calls for you to go for it on fourth down, then I have no issue with it. Scott Frost, go ahead. You're a bold play caller, great play caller. You get first downs like hot knife to butter, right? But you got to take the points when you can get them. That was the issue with Baylor. And if you could take the points when you get them against Houston and your defense is able to get stops, because mind you, UCF is still a top 5 pass defense in the conference. They're number 3. Make that Baylor game look like an outlier. Like
Yeah.
you just went up against the best passing quarterback. Of course, he would dissect your defense, right? Make that game look like an outlier, just like Houston should make the West Virginia game look like an outlier. So I think both teams kind of come into this matchup with a chip on their shoulder. Both teams want to get back in the win column. But for UCF, it's just a little bit more is at stake for them
Yeah.
because you want to make a postseason appearance. You want to have a bowl game. You always want to showcase professional scouts that you could play at the next level. Um, you want to show the fans that we're a good team. We lost this game, but we're gonna go home and we're gonna show you that we could play and we can win a game. And most importantly, it's a space game. You
Mhm.
do not want to lose when you're undefeated. You
Yeah.
do not.
You don't want to be that group.
Absolutely. No one ever wants to be that group. So there's
Right.
a little bit of like, I don't want to be that group. And some of these guys have it's their first space game. Like it's Taven Jackson's first space game.
Hmm.
He transferred from Indiana. Like it's his first space game. So you don't want to be, yeah, my first space game was a loss.
Yeah.
No, you don't want that. My first space game was a win. Yeah, that has a different ring to it. So both teams will come into the Acrisure bounce house with a little bit of a chip on their shoulder to get back in the win column. But outside of that, do you have any other UCF news that you want to talk about?
Sure. I mean, technically, it's not current UCF news, but a couple of the players that transferred out last year for basketball had very good debuts. Um, we'll start with Keyshawn because uh, he had 28 points in an OT win for Auburn. He shot 16 of 18 from the free throw line and he really put the team on his back towards the end of the game. They played Bethune-Cookman, which would think is a, kind of a walk in the park W for Auburn, but they had a lot of moving pieces this offseason too. He committed to Auburn when Bruce Pearl was still the coach, and he abruptly retired about 3 months after Keyshawn Hall committed, and now his son's the coach. So, his first game, Bethune-Cookman looked really good. They have a guy, Arterio Morris. He played at Texas. I think he went through some personal issues, and that's why he's at a smaller school now. But he was cooking them, and he got fouled on a half court at the end of the game, uh, which forced 3 free throws, and that's how he put it in overtime. So, good for him for, pushing through that, because that is a tough thing to bounce back from, fouling someone on a half court, especially for a coach. I know a coach that would drive a coach crazy. And then, secondly, Dior Johnson, he was with us last year briefly. Didn't get a lot of opportunity as a Knight. Dealt with some injuries throughout the year, but he's at Tarleton State now, and he's kind of their spark plug off the bench. At least in the first game, he only played 23 minutes and put up 23 points. He was very efficient, and they got a win in their first game as well. So just good to see those guys, contributing on their new squads.
Yeah, it is, especially Keyshawn, because he was the UCF darling back when he was a Knight. He had the 40 ball against, was it Arizona State?
Yeah.
Yeah, 40 ball against Arizona State, and you did a profile on him, several months back. So he was the UCF darling, and many people thought he was declaring for the NBA draft
Hmm.
until he decided to transfer and go to Auburn.
He did declare, and then he took it back out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it's good to see that he's performing well. Especially 16 to 18 free throws. I got a little bit to say about that.
Yeah.
Just a little bit, because I mean, free throws are a part of the game. We see Shea Gilgeous-Alexander shoot 13 free throws. We see Luka Doncic shoot 10 free throws. Like, that's just the game nowadays. But it's- like,
Something to watch.
yeah, as people on X would say, that's unethical ball. Like, get your 28 points ethically, all right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, it's good to see Keyshawn, played well. Good to see Dior play well as well. He's always been that kind of spark plug scorer. Before UCF, he's always been a player where he may play 20 minutes, but he'll give you 25. You know, uh, I believe before he was at UCF, he was in JUCO, and
Mhm.
he was killing the game in JUCO. Right.
Killing 30
So
a game.
yeah, so he could score the ball. He could put the ball in the hoop. Ain't no doubt about that. Maybe that's his role. If he does go pro, maybe that's his role in the league. He's gonna be your sixth man who will play 18, 25 minutes a game and give you 12, 13 points. He'll be a spark plug, and kind of like a Jordan Clarkson who's
I
not
was
playing
just about to say Jordan Clarkson.
who's not
That's
playing for the
what I
Knicks.
was.
Like Jordan Clarkson, Lou Williams, kind of sixth man, where you're coming off the bench and you're just giving the team scoring.
Yeah.
So it's good to see former Knights perform well, and at their other schools. And yeah, I mean that's about it. We're coming to the end of episode 4 of the KnightsCASTle podcast. Um, some quick things here. Top left is the QR code for the UCF Roundtable site. Make sure if you're watching, whether you're watching on your computer or your iPad or any other device that isn't your phone, scan the QR code so you can see the stories that we post on a daily basis. Read, create an account, log in, and have community posts. If you want to talk about UCF versus Vanderbilt, make a community post about that. You want to talk about, the space game, you got a little nice niche space game fact, you could create an account and post that. So make sure you scan the QR code, create an account, interact with us, and we love to drive more interactions to the site and interact with you guys. And last but not least, as every content creator does, make sure you like and subscribe, turn the bell on so you can get notifications of when we post new episodes on Mondays and Fridays. Always going over UCF sports and anything more outside of the UCF atmosphere that's interesting to talk about. So we'll bring an end to the podcast. I'm your host, Demetrius Montero, with my co-host.
Matthew Feldman.
And we're the UCF sports writers of the UCF Roundtable on roundtable.io. You can find me on Twitter or X. Keep calling it its dead name. At Dem Montero, Dem_Montero. Matthew, any social medias you want to say?
I keep saying I'll link it in the bottom. Maybe I will this time.
Yeah. So make sure you guys follow us on social media. Keep up with us. We can interact with you guys. But we'll bring an end to KnightsCASTle episode 4. We'll see you on Monday. Peace.
9-0.